So we have another installment of Beacon of Light podcast. We're meeting with Mike. How long have you been working here at Beacon?
Since July of 2023. So 2.5 years.
Wow. That's a long time. You didn't have a beard back then.
Not so. Yeah, this came from Halloween, so
Yeah.
it's temporary probably.
So, how old are you, Mike?
69.
69.
69.
Oh, you're an old timer, aren't you?
I'm an old
You're
timer.
getting up there,
Yeah.
right? I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to go back in time, right? To your first experience with whatever your first experience was that led you on your journey of being addicted to whatever it is you were addicted to.
Okay.
What was that?
Alcohol.
That's a common thing.
Mhm.
It's always alcohol, for the most part. And how old were you when that happened?
Well,
If you can remember, they didn't have
I can
electricity back
remember,
then, right? That was a joke, by the way.
swimming in Pine View Dam and having beer. You know, it really didn't appeal to me.
How old were you?
That would have been probably 17, 18.
So and I guess, is that somewhere here in Utah, Pine View Dam?
East of Ogden. Yeah.
Okay.
Pine View Road.
Hanging out with your buddies,
Yeah.
right? Cracking some beers, but that didn't do it for you.
I think when I really started enjoying alcohol was when I was a waiter at the Ogden Golf and Country Club.
And how old are you now? How old are you at this moment when you were a waiter right there?
That when I was in college
Right.
in the music education program, so I would have been about 19, 20
So that's when you had your first taste that you enjoyed.
that I enjoyed. After
Was it
after
beer?
work, we'd sit around the bar and all the customers were gone.
Hang
That
out
was just what we did. We hung out
and drink
drank.
basically for free, or
Yep.
now this isn't beer, this is alcohol.
Yeah.
Making some mixed drinks.
Aubrey Wallbangers and all that kind of stuff I'd never heard of. The bartender knew how to make them. So
So you're just sitting around shooting the shit and enjoyed that.
yeah, I'd gone all my early teen years with never touching alcohol. It was part of the church. It wasn't part of my religion. But I eventually grew away from that a little bit, and so ended up getting a different circle of friends, and so different things were accepted, including the drinking part. I didn't want to do it because I grew up around drugs and alcohol, and I always swore it off. In my
Because you're
adolescence.
protecting the LDS community?
Mhm.
Okay.
So it was a mistake to ever introduce my body to it, because I think from then on, I always enjoyed it. Never to the extreme.
And so it never became a problem.
Not for decades until.
So you were a social drinker and able to,
Social drinkers.
not drinking while you're working,
Right.
always waiting till you get off work,
Mhm.
and then having a few. Then this started, you said 18 or 19.
Mhm.
And you're able to function, maintain,
Yeah.
in your world, it hadn't created a problem. It may have already created a problem, you just didn't recognize it, but
I didn't recognize the insidious way that it progresses.
so let's fast forward to when your perception of when it became a problem for someone else. Because I'm thinking that it became a problem for somebody else before it became a problem for you, before you said, oh, this is a problem. What do you think is the first recollection of when it became a problem for somebody else, and who was that person?
That was the passengers I was transporting on the bus.
Oh, you were now driving for
I started driving for Greyhound in my mid-20s and had a beautiful career.
driving across the country?
And
Question for you real quick on
Yeah.
that. You ever doze off?
no, got very tired. Many years I was driving nights, and that was a challenge, but listening to the old timer, how you stay awake, I knew how to stay awake.
How did you stay awake?
If I had to stop the bus and jog around the block, I would or jog around the bus,
Wait,
kick the tires.
with people on the bus?
With people on the bus, probably most of them sleeping anyway. I would run, get my heart pumping, get back in.
Interesting. I never. Okay.
Because you're sitting there,
Yeah.
you're doing nothing besides,
I know.
well, your blood's pumping slow.
Maybe listen to some music? No?
I did, yeah, we weren't supposed to, but yeah, I did. I had to headphone my stuck in there because the inspiration that that provides, just that,
Yeah.
yeah. That
So
helped.
how long did you do that total?
35 years.
Are you retired from that?
Yeah.
But something happened.
Yeah, in about 2013.
How many years into this now are you driving the bus?
Starting to cheat the system. I was always very careful. You know, I was a driver instructor. I always obeyed the rules.
How many years of driving the bus in 2013? You know, at what point, because you say in 2013, you started to, how long had you been driving the bus?
By that time, 30 years.
Oh, so you're well into this. You're like,
Yeah.
you're like at the end.
It never caused a problem. That was towards the end, yeah.
You
Because
were so were you drinking the entire time you were driving the bus?
not while I was driving. But, you know, when I got off, I always look forward to it when I got off work.
Drinking.
Yeah, so that was pretty much, I was addicted to it, just needing it on weekends and after work, but it didn't interfere with my work up to a point.
Okay, so we're talking about your first recollection of your first perception of, because we're not talking about when you recognize it as a problem. I want to know when you thought somebody else recognized it as a problem.
I self-admitted, because at this point, I was actually drinking before work, like a shot before work. I would have a shot, I'd get on the train, I'd go to work. Clear-headed, it really
Take a little
hadn't
nip
affected
to
me,
take
but
the edge
it did,
off.
until it did. Until one day I went into my boss and said, I know this isn't right, I need help.
But you didn't
And
see
I admitted
anybody
to my
say
boss I
anything to you,
needed
though.
help.
Nobody said anything to you.
Nobody said anything to me. No.
So you never saw anybody that recognized that this was a problem. So you never actually saw that happen. This was an internal thing on your part.
Yeah.
So you go to your boss after you've been driving that bus for, was it Greyhound you said?
Decades.
Yeah.
And they gave me time off without any advice or direction to go get better.
But not where to go.
But nowhere to go. I didn't know about AA. I didn't know about treatment centers like this. I had no clue what to
Right.
do. So basically, I took that 6 months, and I think maybe I saw a social worker a couple of times. I might have. I went to my
Were they,
first AA
were they still
meeting.
paying you? Were they still paying you?
Yeah. No, they were. No, it was leave of absence.
You still have your job, but you're not
So I
getting
still had
paid.
my job, and kept my seniority and everything. But
This goes on for 6 months.
yeah. And then, so I basically went back unchanged. But I went back and I thought, well, it did teach me a lesson to a point. And then I went back and started getting comfortable and then started making the same mistakes until they threw a random test at me one day when I went into work.
And that's the thing, if you wouldn't have snitched on yourself, they probably would have never done that.
Right.
Sound about right?
Yeah.
But now you're on the radar.
And I'm on the radar. He gave me a test one day and I had alcohol in my system. Not a lot. I wasn't.
But you're not allowed to go out and drink after
No,
work.
not after that. No, after that point, it would.
Well, I'm saying is
With
that
zero tolerance.
even if you, so you can't go drink when you get off work.
Zero tolerance. No, you can't. Yeah, you can.
Well,
You can't for the 8-hour period before you're not supposed to. In other words, you're not supposed to come to work with any alcohol in your system. If I go home and drink at 6 o'clock at night and I'm not driving until 8 o'clock the next morning, there's nothing detectable alcohol in a blood
Okay.
a breathalyzer test.
Okay, so that's what this was. So you had drank, and so basically you're under the influence of alcohol while you're driving.
Yeah, at that point.
And then what
So
happened?
that was the scary part. But thank God I never hurt anybody. So then what happened at that point, they'd already given me that chance. And my boss, who really liked me and had faith in me, he knew I could do what I'm doing today. But Dallas, the headquarters, didn't know that. They didn't know me. They said, no, he had his chance. He doesn't have any chance.
They're just looking at this piece of paper that says,
Yep.
there it is.
Yeah. So he was forced to let me go. They didn't fire me. They let me resign, keep my pension, thank goodness, and resign. So I didn't have that on my record. And today I don't look back with regret because it was a good career. And I'm doing what I'm doing today. I'm sober. And I got over that regretting the past.
So how'd you get
I
that
put
way?
it away.
Sober.
Through a treatment program.
Which
Well,
one?
let me back up a little bit. Once I retired, it threw me into a tailspin where I really did go. That's when the drinking got really bad
Now,
because I had nothing to do. I was depressed because I'd lost my career.
yeah.
So I sat around and drank all the time until it took my physical health to a point where I ended up in the hospital. And that was what broke me.
You got sick.
Without that, I got sick. I'm not sure. I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't gotten sick. But I got sick enough to end up in the hospital for 2.5 weeks.
Oh, wow. You know, that's interesting because that brings me to a time in my life. I don't know how many decades ago. I was drinking and preparing for a barbecue, which is a big thing for me. And I remember, I don't know, I was 2, maybe 3 beers into drinking, and I got a whole 12-pack that I'm going to go through that day. And I'm 2 to 3 beers into that, and I start getting a headache. I start not feeling good. And I remember actually being a little bit disappointed. You know, because I'm not going to be able to go through the whole, you know, because usually I start feeling this way when I'm like at the tail end of my second 6-pack. I'm getting this feeling now after 2 or 3 beers. I'm like, you know, bugs me. Right? I continue to go through till I think I finished that 6-pack, and that was pretty much, I don't know how long ago. This was a long time ago, decades. I'm like, okay, we're done. Right?
And that's the difference between a normie, what we call a normie, and an alcoholic. The person that has the allergic reaction sort of
Well,
thing.
we all are. It's a poison.
It's a poison, but I think genetically wise, they say that if it's in your family, if that genetic, whatever it is,
And it is in my family.
you're more susceptible to actually, almost like being allergic to something.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to alcohol. I can't drink one drink without that obsession being turned on in my brain, in my body, and I can't stop.
So now you're in this thing where you're just hanging around, getting drunk all day. I'm talking shit-faced drunk.
You know, just going along.
And then one day you
And
end up
I
in
don't
the
know if I'd
hospital.
call it shit-faced. I
We're semi-functioning.
I was a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah. But can't you find yourself in the hospital?
But yeah, physically it was taking me down.
Did you check
My blood
yourself
pressure,
in?
my
You
heart
checked
rate.
yourself into some emergency room somewhere?
I went to finally, April 9th of 2018, by this time I'd gone back to church. I started going back to church, but that didn't cure my alcoholism. So I was playing music in the church, I was participating in the church, and I'd come home from church that Sunday, and I was so weak because I hadn't been eating or drinking. I was just drinking straight tequila at that point. And I sat in my chair and I couldn't move. And I had a friend discover me he said, "What are you doing to yourself?" And that was the first time, besides, the old Greyhound thing, that's the first time I looked somebody in the eye. I said, "I don't know what to do. I can't stop," because physically I couldn't stop. I wasn't enjoying. It was doing nothing for me to make me feel good. It was making me sick. I said, "I can't stop, and I need help." He proceeded to dump all my alcohol out. He made me stay at his house that night, and what I should have been in the hospital that night.
Detoxing alcohol is a dangerous,
Oh, no, it was dangerous.
Yeah.
So I ended up in the doctor's office the next morning telling the doctor, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't stop drinking. I can't go through what I went through last night again. the doctor, and he said, give me, he was testing my heart rate, my blood pressure, my temperature, everything was off. And he said, give me a minute. He went, 5 minutes later, he came back to the office and he said, follow me, I've got a different plan for you. And I walked out in the parking lot and there was an ambulance waiting for me. So that doctor and that ambulance saved my life.
They give you some Vivitrol or something, or do you know?
I don't know what they gave me. I got in the ambulance. I remember telling them, I said, I'm in trouble. I haven't had food or water for days. Whatever you do, give me something in my body.
Yeah, they popped an IV in you?
So they had IVs right away. So.
And when would you go in the ambulance?
Ogden Regional. So I did Ogden Regional.
Oh, did you end up going to ACT? Was it ACT back then?
Yeah, and then after I got out of that.
So you went so you go to the emergency room to check into ACT.
I went to the emergency room and had to stay in the hospital bed for over 2 weeks because I was so sick.
In the ER?
Pretty much. Well, not the ER, first the ER, and then into a hospital bed.
Into a room someplace.
Because I had serious stuff. I won't even go into all the details.
Well, yeah, I mean, people don't realize, right, that when you're detoxing from, I don't know, meth or heroin or the booze or, whatever it is, you'll think you want to die, but very rarely do people ever die from detoxing from, heroin. Alcohol, on the other hand,
scary.
It can kill you and oftentimes does if you don't do it in a controlled medical environment, which is where and it was still touch and go for you then.
It was pretty scary. I had different parts of my body that were shutting down.
Well, I mean, if you would have done that detox that you were describing in the hospital bed in your home, you probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
No.
That's how dangerous alcohol detox is.
That was my higher power that put me there.
Yeah.
By the third day, I guess, with what they were putting into my body and having the alcohol cleared out, the clarity came to me that this is when I think my recovery started, is that third day with the sunshine coming in the window and my head finally cleared. I thought, and I knew that I'd almost killed myself.
Yeah.
I thought, I love life. I don't want to die. What am I doing to myself? And that's when that very third day, I said, start bringing me the information, what recovery like ACT or.
Did you end up doing some time over at ACT?
I did 28 days in ACT.
That's a good program.
And then it was. But what really saved me after that was that I immediately started Alcoholics Anonymous after that, 2 or 3 meetings a day for a long time, doing everything I could do with the 12 steps.
It's interesting with the 12 steps. I remember I had a friend of mine, because I was giving AA back when AA started back in, I think it was 1938.
Yep.
They had a lot of success. They were in the high 90s%. And over the years, it's just spiraled downhill. They don't have the same level of success. And I was telling a friend of mine that I wasn't really a big fan. And he said to me, okay, have you read the 12 steps? And I'm like, no.
Good.
He said, well, before you go knocking AA, perhaps you should read the 12 steps, and after you've read the 12 steps, tell me which one of those steps you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I read, and I can't tell you what those 12 steps are to this day, but I can tell you that I read every one of them. Mm-hmm. And I recognized, oh my gosh, this place is this AA thing is from God. Yeah, because 100% of those 12 steps, in my world, are the truth. My problem to this day with AA is everything in the big book is from God, 100%.
Yeah.
But when I go to an AA meeting to this day, my frustration lies in the beginning. They always have somebody read something from that. It's the same thing, right? And they don't read it with any reverence.
They don't know who the God or power is.
Well, when they're reading that, oftentimes, more oftentimes than not, they're reading it really, really fast, right? And so fast, and it's almost as if I'm just in a hurry to get through this, whatever that section of it is. And then every once in a while, there's a section where somebody can crack a joke and say something, and they'll insert. It's almost like they're waiting for the opportunity to crack that joke, and it's just, to me,
They don't take it seriously.
no. These words that you're reading are from God. And you're not reading them with any level of reverence, and you're zipping through you guys are cracking jokes. Hey, I've been to one of those things, or a couple of times where I'm like sitting with somebody, did you understand what they just read? Because they're going so fast.
Right.
Slow it down.
And the newcomer is.
There's a new, exactly. If there's somebody in there that isn't, you know what? Yes, it's that newcomer. Read it slowly. Read it with reverence, and read it with
Some kind of feeling,
yeah.
like you mean it, yeah.
Well, because it's from God. That's my problem.
You know where I find my 12 steps today is in the LDS recovery program. I facilitate a Saturday night meeting.
Where is that? Is it one of the
in
chapels?
Ogden. Well, they have them all over, but the one I facilitate is 6 o'clock every Saturday night in Ogden. And it's a beautiful program because we read those 12 steps with reference.
Yeah.
And they're written in a way, a gospel-centered program, so
Yeah.
that it references Jesus Christ, it references
I love
the
it.
atonement.
Yeah.
It's the 12 steps as Bill wrote them, except with references to our Savior and to the atonement. It means so much more to me now.
Yeah.
And
Let me turn my heater off real quick.
But either way you look at it, they were divinely inspired, and so is this that I work today is divinely inspired. So,
Which is what we do here.
and that's what, and they hear about it here. This is not exactly a 12-step program. I wouldn't call it that.
It's
But
not.
from people like me and Maddie, they hear about the 12 steps.
Well, the 12 steps are from God.
Yep.
That entire big book is from God.
Yep.
And I took on a whole different perspective of the 12-step program with reference to those actual steps. And I would encourage anybody to get a hold of a big book. You can get it online and read those 12 steps
Yeah.
because they are true.
It's thorough. It's a thorough way of admitting our problem, of finding a
Yeah.
power greater than ourselves.
Yeah. And getting in touch with that.
the whole thing.
Yeah,
And
well,
making reparations and
Yep.
service and the whole
Make
thing.
amends, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But with us here at Beacon, everything we do here, it came to me from God, right? Through
You
prayer.
shared that with us, and I appreciate that. And I know that.
It's the truth. I mean, and every time I turn around, I call him the king of the one-uppers because he always one-ups himself with these genuine nuggets that he gives me. But I'm praying for that. I'm praying for guidance. I'm praying for inspiration and direction. And so what happened this morning that you're going to read about on Monday, a new thing we're doing. If somebody stays 100%, the people that we have 3 sober living facilities, as you're well aware of,
Right, yeah.
and they pay rent there. If someone stays clean and is 100% with all their packets that came from God, the 5 well-beings, all that stuff,
Right.
if they're 100%, I will give them a $40 discount on their rent.
Nice.
Now, $40, it means
Not much to me and you, but to them,
it's a big deal.
Big deal.
You do another 3 months, I'm going to give you an additional. So now you're at $80 off. And then if you do another 3 months, which of course take you to the 9-month mark of 100%, and we both know they're not going to be at 100%. And that's going to be up to the staff to determine.
what the progress is.
They can get another $40 off. So they can get $120 off of their rent. Now,
Great idea.
it's not mine. Was not my idea. And when he gave it to me this morning, I was at the gym, which is where I get a lot of my therapy.
Me as well.
Yeah. But then I started thinking, well, what about the people? This is a question I'm asking God. Okay. What about the people that aren't living in the house? How do they, if they do the same thing?
Yeah.
I can't give them a discount on their rent. So he comes to me within a nanosecond. Well, the money that person saves on their rent, Beacon Recovery will take that dollar amount and put it into this fund. Now that fund, for the people that are living in the home or any one of the homes, they can go to that and say, I have a wish list of something. Maybe they need a new pair of shoes. Maybe they need a new jacket for winter time and they don't have that. That fund that will come out of Beacon Recovery, right?
Yeah.
It'll go into that fund and then they can, that's their reward if they adhere to these things
Okay.
and stay. Does that make any
I like
sense?
it. That's a great idea.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Isn't that a great idea?
Yeah.
To incentivize these
They need
people,
that incentive. Yeah.
right? And then to correlate with that, this is it. This one's broke. Oh, so I have these. This one's broken. I just ordered some new ones. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a titanium bracelet that has been. It's been infused with the Earth's frequency.
Oh.
So it's like a magnetic slash energy bracelet that's actually quite attractive. Once you reach the 90 day and you've been clean that entire time, right? You're going to get one of these
Great.
that you can wear. But in between that time, the first 30 days, it's going to be a certain type of bracelet. Then the second set is going to be a different type of bracelet, which these bracelets have significant meaning to me. You probably can't see these, but when I was in the Navy, I'm keep looking because that's my camera.
Yeah. Hi.
That's your camera.
Just dawned on me that I'm going to.
Yeah, that's why I'm talking to my folks, but they're the same folks. But I was in the Navy, and when I first got there at 17, I remember when we all first our first walk as a group to the commissary to go get our approved snacks, right?
Okay.
We're in formation, and I'd see these guys in onesies or twosies walking by himself or with a group of one or two, but they had these leggings, very much similar to what you'd see the English troops wearing, those white ones, and they would come up like halfway up their calf.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? I'd see these guys wearing these leggings, and I would always be like, what is going on? Well, I found out those guys, they were at a section of their treatment or of their basic training. They're at the end.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're able to walk by themselves. And I remember thinking, I can't wait to get to that.
Some incentive.
And remember the first day I put my leggings on and I'm able to walk around unsupervised, doing whatever errands I was instructed to do for my, platoon or whatever it was called in the Navy. That was what it's called in the Army. In the Navy, I forgot what it was called. It doesn't matter.
But they give you.
Every stage, and everybody gets to see the stage you're in. You're only going to get a monetary incentive, but you're also going to get whatever you're going to get
Something that others can see.
that everybody, and you can adhere to. I want to get to this stage.
Okay.
I want to get to that stage, right? This one came to me this morning. We're going to incentivize them with a monetary value from both sides,
Right.
right? And these people that are going to get a discount on their rent are going to pay for those people. They're going to get whatever it is that they're looking for. Now, if you want to go out and buy a bunch of, junk food, no, we will order these things for you, whatever they are. Okay? So it's not a
Well,
free.
it's something necessary for.
Yeah, it's not going to be, but it may be. Maybe we'll have enough funds in that account, or we're going to have ourselves a big party that you folks paid for, right?
No, yeah, good idea.
Yeah, I wish I
Well,
could
I
take
like that
credit for it.
inspiration. That's when when you're doing things right, inspiration comes.
That's what I prayed for. That's what I pray for every morning. Direction and clarity. And we teach that at Beacon. God does hear our prayers, and He answers our prayers. And for me, it's being in gratitude when you hear those answers. I believe gratitude is the key to abundance, right? So now what I want you to do is you're going to look into your camera, right?
Okay.
And I want you to share with whoever's listening, and I say this with everybody that I get in this chair, there's somebody listening to this somewhere that is right there on that fence thinking that there is no hope because they're stuck in their addiction, right? We've been there. I've been there.
Right.
Okay. What do you say to that person? Is in reference to the hope and why?
Yeah, you have to have the willingness and the hope and the desire to make a better life for yourself. To realize, to have your eyes open enough to realize what your addiction is doing to you. Be able to look in the future and see where that addiction is taking you and want something better. And to realize that that something better will only come through your willingness to change, to seek a higher power that's got power greater than you that can help you to find that path, to reach out to that higher power and to reach out to others around you that have done the same thing that I've done the same thing that Tony's done and so many others have done, to rid themselves of that vice, of that prison, would you say, those bars that had us locked in and holding us back from being who we truly need to be or want to be. So I would just say that to reach out to me, reach out to Tony, reach out to somebody that you know that is in recovery. Ask them for help. Get on your knees, ask your higher power for help. And it happens. If you want it and if you reach out, it happens.
And he will hear you, and so will we.
He will hear you. And so will we. Yeah.
So, I noticed you got a hat on.
It's a beacon hat.
Can you take
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Beacon Recovery. I hope I wore the right hat.
You did wear the right
And
hat.
it's got a little
Pin?
pin on it. I put the pin on it. Just
Yeah.
whatever that means. Hopefully, it's a good sign for brotherhood and
Yeah.
peace and
Yeah.
cooperation.
And I really like the color design you've gone with on your hat.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Oh, and the beacon. Don't forget the bee guy. The bee guy.
where'd you get that?
I didn't bought it, but I bought it because you got beacon. It's the bee guy.
He spells it the same way, the bee guy. Well, because of course he's a bee.
Because of the bee, and because I love bees. I'm a gardener and I love bees.
Well, in the beacon,
And I love
okay,
bees.
we've done that. B-E-E, we reference the honeybee, reference to what the honeybee
Right.
represents, what those bees do. They work as an individual, but they're
Industrious.
also an individual. They're a hive to create a delicacy known as honey.
You.
We are honeybees working together as a unit to create a delicacy known as joy. Men are that they might have joy.
Right.
And we don't have joy when we're stuck in our addiction,
No.
right? But we have joy when we rely on our Father in heaven and our Savior, Jesus Christ, which
Exactly.
is what we teach here. Prayer, we do it every single day, right? So,
I love that when I first came here, I was sitting in my living room on a Sunday night when I saw a message from a friend on Facebook that said they were looking for a male employee. I made a phone call to Terry at the time, ended up in the office the next day, saw Maddie, who I already knew, and hit it off. And
did you know that she worked here when you,
she was one of the interviews. Terry interviewed me and Maddie interviewed me. But we ended up talking about recovery and AA. And,
Yeah.
and by the time I drove into my driveway back in Ogden, Terry was on the phone saying, we think you'd be a good fit. Will you please come back tomorrow to do your onboarding? So, which was cool how that worked out. But the neatest thing was a week or two later when I realized that the owner, you, is LDS, believes in Jesus Christ, has pictures of Jesus Christ around. I thought, what a neat environment for me to be in and to work in. So I'm grateful to be here.
well, we're grateful that you're here. I can tell you that I still believe in Jesus Christ, but I'm no longer LDS. I don't know if you know that or not.
I didn't know
But
that.
I still believe and still get the blessings that a person gets from believing in Jesus Christ. I mean, here in my office alone, you can see hanging,
Yeah.
1, 2, that's a tree of life that you can't see on camera. But I got 1, 2, hanging that's a cool one over there. This one,
That's amazing.
that is a really cool picture.
It is awesome.
Do you know what that represents?
I do not.
So we'll get a picture of that. Maybe we can get the camera on that in a minute. Those, and I need to get the eagle out of the way because he's kind of blocking the view. But we get our gifts. Those people that are turned their back on the Savior,
Oh, okay.
they receive what they receive, and they've said, I've got what I've got, and I'm turning my back. The one is turning back and saying, what do I have to be grateful for? It's a parable in the Bible someplace, but I've been both of those. I've been the person that has turned my back on Jesus Christ when he's given me everything, and I've forgotten about him. Do you know?
Yep.
But I'm now the person
I've been there too.
that turns back and says, I have everything to be grateful for. And I tell this to people, for me personally, I have everything because of Jesus Christ. And I'm nothing without Jesus Christ.
I'm with you on that.
I'm the person that I used to make fun of. You know, remember the Jesus freaks?
Yep.
Right. I'm that guy. Everything I have is and because of Jesus. You know, like that movie, The Highlander. There can only be one. Remember that movie? I don't know. There is only one. There's only one Jesus Christ. And that is who I am attempting to emulate. And the cool thing is, I'm going to fall short. And when I do, he makes up the difference.
The atonement, yeah.
100%.
Yep.
And that's what we teach at Beacon Recovery. Right? So it's a good
That's why
thing.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. All right. So that one's the next one. Thank you.
Okay.